Hello everyone, this is Andrew with Kimmons Toolworks, and today I have a handful of new things to share with everybody and some really cool things. And I just wanted to remind everybody, up front that any of the stuff you see in these videos, you can order this stuff whenever you want. You just need to contact me at andrew@kimmonshandtools.com. You can also go to the website Kimmons Hand Tools, but the thing is that I don't have a whole lot of things up there for sale other than scrapers, and the standard lead times apply to these. I do not have these in stock. So if you ordered one of these, the steel is on the way, and that's one of the next things I'm doing. So yeah, you can go to the website. It's Kimmons Hand Tools, and there's a banner at the top that says for custom orders, email Andrew@kimmonshandtools.com. So any of the stuff you see here, you can get it too. And I mean, there's lead times. Everything I do is custom. You go onto a list, and then depending on my work volume, lead times vary. They're frequently anywhere from 6 weeks to 90 days. I try not to go beyond the 90-day point. And that's when if you notice, I post a lot on social media and then I disappear. And I disappear because my lead times are getting too crazy. And so I disappear to just focus on my work and get my lead times down and get orders done, because the more I post on social media, the more orders I get. So when it gets to the point where it's like, all right, I need to start pulling it back, I just tend to kind of vanish off of social media and put my nose down and just go for it, because I don't really want to blow this up into an industrialized mass production thing. That's really not my goal with this, because with that goes quality. So I want to keep it the way that I do it, which is small batch, by hand, everything made in-house, just quality control, Quality control, not batch quality control, not we check 1 out of every 100, like quality control, QC of every freaking part. That's what it's all about. And that, as my customers know, comes with a price, because I have to feed my family and pay the bills. So, if I charged what a lot of people want to pay for them, I would be homeless. So that's why they cost what they cost, is because there's a ton of labor in these things. I mean, there's an immense amount of labor that goes into these, when every single part is turned and finished by hand and everything is done by hand. It's labor intensive, and with some of the blades, it's more labor intensive than others. And the price has to reflect that naturally. Generally speaking, well, let's just say it's a lot of work. I love it. I love my job, but the price reflects how much work really goes into them. And I'm glad that I have customers that understand that and appreciate that, because I'm that way too. And I've always been that way, where it's like, I'm willing to pay for quality, and I'm willing to wait a lead time for quality, and I always will be, because I don't want junk. I'm sick of junk. I am so sick of the throwaway junk society crap that we've created, that I feel like there's steam coming out of my ears. And the amount of things that get thrown away, where it's like, it boggles my mind, where it's like, you can fix something by replacing one little part, but people just throw it away rather than like learn how to fix shit. Pardon my language. I get steaming about the throwaway society thing. Because look, there's hordes and hordes and hordes and hordes and hordes and hordes of crap in landfills that doesn't really need to be there. I'm one of those people that I will repair and string things along past the point of practicality. Something has to be dead for me to throw it away. And like, that's why the truck that I drive is 21 years old. It's 21 years old, but I've had it its whole life, and I've kept it mechanically pristine its whole life. And people ask me, when are you going to trade that thing in and get a new truck? I was like, I'm not. This is a better truck than what I would get. Like, I trust this thing. I would hop in that thing and go across the country, and I don't question it. You know, it's been taken care of well, and only factory parts been put on it, so I replace it. Anyway, enough about my rant on throwaway society. You know, it just baffles me. And it just comes a lot of times from a place of a lot of the old skills that people used to have, like repairing appliances, you know, making electrical pairs to things like that. You know, for example, yesterday, I've repaired a number of PC boards. I'm a nerdy kind of nut, but the fob for my wife's car failed to function, and it was the unlock function. So I popped the thing open, and I looked at all the traces, looked at all the components, and I said, it's probably a bad connection on one of these components. And I fired up my soldering iron, gas, you know, butane powered snap-on soldering iron, and I just touched each component on that circuit. Put it down, click, worked fine. Like a lot of times, all you got to do is simple things like that, and then you don't have to throw it away. And it's like, hey, save $200 right there. So, and it pays to learn how to fix things. I've been thinking about making a parallel YouTube channel simply about teaching people how to repair common things that people just throw away, or they go pay somebody else to figure out, and that person throws it away because they don't know what. If you went to a dealership with that fob, they would have chucked it in the trash and sold you a, you know, $200-300 situation. And no, I mean, you can fix way more things than you'd think. You know, vacuums get thrown away because the plug is loose. It's like, go get a replacement plug, wire that sucker up, takes 2-3 minutes, good to go. Some of the stuff I've repaired is weird, but it's like I'll string things along indefinitely until the end of time. Anyway, so yeah, if I end up making a parallel YouTube channel based on simply just repairing things and trying to show and teach people that, like, we don't have to throw away all of the crap we throw away just because, you know, maybe one little component fails in something. Oftentimes it's something you can repair. So anyway, we're here to talk about woodworking tools, but I got off on a rant and I can't help it. I think it's something that a lot of people that follow the channel and a lot of people that are, you know, my customers would agree with as well. And some maybe not, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with having different opinions. You know, it's just something that I get sick of it because of the amount of hordes of trash. You know, we live in a small town, and you drive by like the county landfill, and it's mountains and mountains and mountains and mountains and mountains of just plastic buried in there. And it's like, and the groundwater out here is so freaking contaminated, and it's like, okay, well, I don't want to add to that any more than, you know, I need to. But anyway, we are here to talk woodworking tools. I apologize for the rant. I get off on those tangents sometimes, but it's something I take very seriously. So, long story short, these aren't throwaway tools. Imagine that. I don't make throwaway tools. And I wanted to bring up a point as well, that a lot of woodworking tools on the market are, that I've seen and I've tested and I've been through this, they're hardened about that far into the blade, like maybe an inch, and I've seen them heat treat them. They put them on a carousel, heat the tip, and then just quench the tip. And that's, well, and they do it to avoid warpage, because if you heat the whole length of a blade to, like, for example, to a temperature hot enough to yield a 63 Rockwell blade, and you were to quench it, it bends. So, but there's ways around it. There's ways around it that aren't just heat treating the tip of a chisel. So I would like to just say that most of mine you can literally use down to a nub. Other than the long ones, the big long ones, you can, the first 6 inches will be the usable length. And then after that, the steel hardness tapers off. You can still use it. It's still hard enough to use, but like, and I mean the big paring chisels, like the first 6 inches would be your premium prime hardened blade steel. And then after that, it's going to taper to 60, you know, and which 60 is still very usable. Most of the chisels on the market are 60 anyway. But, you know, as far as your average ordinary chisels that I make, you can use these things down to a nub. They're not throwaways. You can, you know, in 200 years, if you're a professional woodworker and you're using one of these in, you know, 200 years, your great-great-great-grandchild might have this thing ground down to a freaking nub and still going for it. So it might be a butt chisel then, who knows? But it'll still be functioning. Anyway, I'm going to get into what I've got here today because I've got some new things and they're really cool. I'm quite ecstatic. I get ecstatic about tools. I can't help it. This is some really cool stuff. And some great examples of things I don't think I've shown on YouTube. First off, I've never shown this handle material because I wasn't even aware of this handle material existing out there. This was sent to me by a customer who's a collector. All of this was, but this one in particular. This is called nara, quilted nara. It's N-A-R-A. And it is such a beautiful wood. It reminds me a lot of Amboina burl, but an Amboina burl that's actually prettier and much more stable. So to those that like the look of an Amboina burl, this is that but better. This is actually very strong material and very, very, very hard, which an Amboina burl doesn't have that. And all the burl handles, like, and I tell people if they want burl or highly figured handles like these, it's like that wood is defective by nature. So it's not meant to handle the hardcore stresses like these are. And that's why my base model chisels are in stabilized maple, figured maple, because it's like those can handle whatever you throw at them. But your highly figured woods, such as like a burl, they're not for super high stress situations. This was the hardest of all, and that's why it's on these monster mortise chisels. This is a 3/4 inch mortise chisel right here, another one. This is only the second one I've ever made. And this is a half, and you can tell, and these are both in quilted nara. Everything has caps. I'll show you that here in a minute, but you can see the size jump. The size jump actually happens at 5/8, and the size jump occurs, see, like if I were to lay out a complete set of mortise chisels from 1/8 inch to 3/4, there's 2 size jumps. The size jump is at 3/8 because the stock sizes go up. So the size jump is at 3/8, and then the size jump is again at 5/8. And all of those are on a different, you know, overall platform, so to speak. I mean, they're the same. You lay them down, it's a set. Lengths are the same, everything. It's just they get beefier here, and the material gets bigger and beefier. You can see this is, it's not just a width difference, it's an overall difference. It's a massive blade. And like you can see that it's just a very robust chisel. And I'll show you really quick. That size jump, that transition point is at the 5/8 point, and this is a 5/8. So it goes up to a bigger stock right there. That's where it jumps up. And if anybody out there wants a 5/8 mortise chisel, I accidentally made this. So this obviously could ship out sooner than normal because I'm actually making mortise chisel handles this week. So if you want a 5/8 mortise chisel, I literally have the blade and I can make you a handle this week. Just get a hold of me, Andrew at kimmonshandtools.com, and tell me you want the 5/8, and we can talk handle and get that thing, get it to you much sooner than the normal lead times. The lead times normally vary anywhere from 6 weeks to 90 days, depending on the workload, and that's kind of why I disappear from social media every now and then, because whenever my lead times start getting crazy, I just kind of disappear, put my nose down, because the more I expose myself on social media, the more orders I get. So it's literally me trying to avoid getting too many orders is why I tend to go silent on social media sometimes. Don't get me wrong. If I wanted to blow this up into a mass-produced, industrialized thing, I could be making millions and millions and millions of dollars sitting on a beach somewhere. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that because this is about standing for something. This is craftsmanship. You know, this is morality. I'm not going to sell you a tool and tell you it's good if I never touched it, I never saw it. I can't put that faith and confidence into a detached process that's heat treated somewhere else, made by other people. I wouldn't be able to sit there and say, this is the best tool, this is the best cutting tool on the planet. Because I wouldn't know. It would feel like a lie. And that's not good. That's not a moral place to be. So long story short, I could absolutely blow this up into a huge thing, but I have no desire to do that. My desire is to stay with small batch, high quality control. I mean, making every part, heat treating every part, doing every little thing. That way you can get something that's truly handmade. Not like when you go out there and you buy something handmade and it's really just hand assembled and all the components come out of China. Like, that's not handmade. This is really handmade. Now I'll stop running my mouth and we'll get into firmer chisels, which is actually one of my favorite things ever. I'm so glad somebody wanted some because they're not very popular. These don't sell very much. And I was talking to the guy that bought these yesterday, and I love what he said. He said that firmer chisels are criminally underrated. Bingo. That's it. I agree with that completely. And these are actually firmers that have no bevels, and that's what I like. I like firmers without bevels at all. Those dinky little half partial bevels, it's like you might as well just not do one. It would have more utility to not do a bevel at all. Like, if you need bevel clearance, use a full-on beveled edge chisel. And if you don't, use a firmer. Like this, I like this because this is a nice gap filler between a bench chisel and a mortise chisel. This isn't really your average firmer. I like this. This is the style that I like. And I'm glad that he agrees. He has a very extensive collection, and I think he'll be happy to add these to that collection. I know I certainly would be. These are beautiful. But if you want firmers with no bevels or the mini bevels, I can still do the little bevels. But if you want either of those, Andrew at kimmonshandtools.com, and I can make that happen for you. And this is a 3/8 of the same thing. It's a 3/8 firmer. No bevels. I love it. I love these. Now we're getting into another thing that I don't get orders for very often, but I love these. These two right here. This is a skew pair, a 1/4 inch skew pair with extended length blades. These aren't the paring length. These are the long. See, they go standard length, which is this. This is a standard 1/4 inch. Then you go to long, and then you go to XL for the paring chisel, which is a little bit longer. So these are 6-inch blades, and the paring is a little bit longer than that. I don't know how many people have ground and honed skews. That takes a lot of practice to get. See if I can even get this on camera. It's so hard to get. So I thought those turned out pretty nicely. Nice little micro bevel on there. These things are razor sharp. And it's a left hand and right hand pair. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see here. There we go. And these aren't in the quilted nara. These appear to be quilted babinga. I know they're Babinga, but I don't know if it was quilted necessarily or just highly figured. It looks like quilting to me. So this is all in one order, and this was all customer provided wood and everything. End caps. End caps are very popular, and I like them too a lot. Mainly because they provide counterbalance to the back of the tool, and it makes the tool feel better in your hand. Moving on, this is an order that was placed for a single. You don't have to buy an entire set. You can buy a single. That's not a problem. And these are pairs. This is one order, that's one order, that's one order. You can buy a couple, you can buy one, whatever. You know, you can, it's the point of custom tools. You know, Andrew at kimmonshandtools.com. Let me know what you want. If it's a single, a pair, I can literally make anywhere from a single to a set containing 160 different chisels, if that's where you want to go. If you're like, I want a full set of everything, I can absolutely do that. The lead time will be kind of crazy on something like that, but I'd be willing to do it. If anybody out there is a, you know, some crazy multi-millionaire, billionaire person that's into woodworking and wants that, I would be more than happy to do that for you. This is another order. This is, I don't know if I mentioned that was a 3/4. This is a 1 inch and a 1/2 inch. These are just standard bevel edge chisels. They're a little smudgy because I haven't cleaned them up yet. These are shipping out today. I mean, I just roughly wiped them off, but they still need to get a little bit of oil. And this is the 1/2 inch. This one goes with the 1 inch. Then we got some electric blue. We've got an electric blue 1/4 inch, which I dig the blue. I really do. I dig it. Then we have the 5/8. And what's cool about the electric blue when you do figured maple is it looks like there's gold in it. I don't know if you guys have seen it up close, but it looks like there's like gold in it as well, because the grain just pops as like gold. It's really cool. Now, these are a different style to everybody out there that has the regular tang style sets. I still make those. Those haven't been phased out. That's just a different thing. These are for harder use. They're the socket tang. These are the regular tang style. And you can tell that there's no socket on them. This is just a long tang in here. The tang comes back all the way to here. In the big sizes, they do. In the smaller sizes, they don't come back that far. But this thing, these are still extremely tough, but they don't have that socket there. And yes, I still make these. If you want some for, you know, your existing set, if you want to add some sizes, you don't have to go with the socket tang. You can just go with the tang style. I have my scraper out. This is my personal scraper because I absolutely love this thing. I use this thing every day, and I love it. It has held up great. I was just using it yesterday because I was hot gluing, doing a project, you know, a little project with hot glue, and it involved hot glue and magnets. It's kind of weird, but the magnets, I put hot glue on a bar magnet, and it went, and they stuck together. I was like, oh crap, and then the glue dried immediately, and I took this thing and I just chopped them apart with it. So I mean, this thing comes in handy, you know, cleaning glass cooktops. Once again, if you have an order in for these right now, the steel's on the way, and the supply chains have been very, very weird. The next thing I'm doing is the orders that I have right now for these, which they're not crazy time consuming. And if you want the 5/8, once again, Andrew at kimmonshandtools.com. I do have a special project. I'll come back up here. I do have a special project going on, and it's going to be probably toward the end of this week that I start tinkering with this. Is a screwdriver, actually a flathead screwdriver specifically for bench planes, for hand tool woodworkers that, you know, you have, obviously you have hand planes, and if you have some of my chisels, or if you don't, it doesn't really matter. If you want a really nice purpose-built screwdriver for a bench plane, I'm working on that. So, and I want it to be something that, well, you'll see. It's work in progress. The gears are still turning up here, but I'm going to bring this into life, and we're gonna see. It may need a few revisions before I get it to where I like it, but I think it'll be cool, and I think it might be something that a lot of people. And I didn't even have this idea. I had a customer had this idea, and I get a lot of ideas from customers where it's like, you know, that's a good idea. I'll do that. So yes, I'm going to be figuring out the screwdriver, and I look forward to making a video about that. I think it would be neat. And my plan with the screwdriver, because it's like I eventually would like to do a bead blasted tip because it helps with traction, but I'm not going to buy, I don't own a, you know, bead blast cabinet. I don't have one. Now, if I get enough orders for the screwdrivers, once I release those, I will buy one. But I can't justify buying a piece of equipment like that for one thing when I just don't have much of a use for it in my life. But if I do end up having a use for it in my life, I will purchase one, for one, and for two, I will try and find somewhere to put it. Because I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. Don't even know where that would go, but I would like to do that because it helps screwdrivers with traction. You know, any screwdriver worth its salt has that like bead blasted tip on it. All of my screwdrivers are all snap-on, and they've always had it. And even I've got an SK set as well, and they're the same way. But SK, they're pretty good too. SK Tools, actually, fun fact, their old plant up until 2009 is like 1.5 miles from here. It's where SK Tools used to be made. So, anyway, today I'm going to move on to machining this, some 7/8 stainless, and I'm going to turn this into sockets. That's what I'm doing today, and I hope everyone has a great day out there. I believe it's Monday, so I know it's tough sometimes to have a good day on Monday, but just try. You know, it starts up here. Make it a happy day. So I hope everyone has a great day out there. Once again, if you want any of this kinds of stuff, I mean, obviously these aren't for sale, but if you find, you know, something in any of these videos that you like, Andrew@KimmonsHandTools.com. Let me know what you're looking for. I can get you a price. We can work it out and make it happen for you. So hope everyone has a great day out there, and I will see you next time.